Hello, everybody, and welcome back to I lose at playing Stellaris while Roach watches and laughs at me for making fun of him for losing his Romania.
Hey, now, I never laughed at you outwardly.
It was I know you though. It was internal.
It was very much internal.
But anyway, I am down to one planet, and while building tall in this game is possible, it is kind of a like mid to late game thing. So I think there's going to be a little time while I'm sitting here on this tiny. It's not even a it's a moon. It's a moon.
It's a moon.
It's not even a planet. It's a moon orbiting
they call it a mine.
A mine. It's. Oh man, I really some of this stuff they need to like robot up. Capital World governing ethics attraction 100%. That doesn't apply to me. So
yeah.
But I mean, it's not the worst planet. I do have a Betharian power plant on it, so it is cranking out a healthy amount of power. So I mean, it's not the worst. It's not the worst planet, but it's gonna be a little bit of a doozy.
I might have been able to help you more if I had realized that sectors only grow pops if you let them build robots. I forgot that was a default setting. Maybe if you're playing a robot or a mechanical race, maybe that should be switched off. I don't know if that's possible, but Paradox, maybe you could do some of that. You know, fix that.
Oh man, my physics research is 10, society research 10, engineering research is 19. So, part of what I'm hoping is that
construction complete.
Because I got fortresses on the tech now, and maybe I can get some good ships through engineering research to help me out and survive. But I mean, my techs right now are I'm looking at 150 months to get one tech because of the lack of researchers. Probably is going to mean I'm going to need to replace some buildings on my planet. Why don't we go ahead and replace one of these power plants? Replace this with a... Ooh, actually, you know what we'll do is replace this one with a science lab.
I forgot ethics, or not ethics, edicts were a thing.
Yes, yeah. I forgot that a lot too.
Because I have the Grand Fleet edict, and I haven't had it on, and yeah, that helped a lot.
That's 35% fleet capacity, I think.
Yeah, I went from having 198. It was my max. Now I'm at 248. So
I'm at 28. Yeah. I could probably disband some of these armies, as if they come for me. I don't think these armies are going to help me, so why don't we get rid of a couple of them to save on the upkeep. Upkeep's not huge, but it's like 0.6, but it's something. Let's get rid of a few. Let's keep 6. So we're rebuilding some buildings on the planet to try to get a little bit more science, because that's kind of what I need right now.
Need to tech up, need to out-tech them. Which should be good, because they get a massive decrease in their technological speed, or the cost of tech goes up with the amount of pops you have in your not nation, your empire, star empire.
They're already inferior to me on tech. It's just their fleet power is overwhelming. They just outmuscle me. But so I'm gonna need to get some good old techs in here to really do this. And Penny's joined us.
Yeah.
Squeak, 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 squeak. Get your toys. Gimme. Drop. Good girl. Go get it. Okay.
The Hegemony and the Confederation joined in a defensive pact.
The Hegemony, which is the people to my south.
South, and the guys next to me. Ooh,
and
I got
the Cop Joxy. Confederation of
I got a non-aggression pact with the Hegemony now.
Well, they don't like me. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think maybe they're just saying that I might go to war with the Confederation. and they don't want to fight the replicators.
The replicators, yeah. Alright, so I am almost done modifying my species because we gotta go lean and mean.
Drop the fat.
Yeah, we can't afford our ruby encrusted nipple tassels anymore. Can't afford those luxuries. Like considering I have only one world, and it is literally one size higher than the smallest possible planet. I have energy credits of plus 22 and minerals of plus 60, so it's not that bad. Oh, demand vassalization from the hegemony. Not happening. Not happening. Tested that off screen, and unfortunately, my plan was to try to get the jump drive, because I tested this off screen to see if it was even feasible to continue playing this. I tested it off screen, got the dangerous tech, the jump drive, and I figured, hey, I can go, I can try to out-tech them and maybe beat them with a correct, rock, paper, scissors fleet. And I'll get the jump drive, I'll jump over, and I'll be able to jump over their territory. But unfortunately, even if you're not using the hyperlanes, and you're using the jump drive, you cannot cross over territory with a closed border. Even if you're not entering it, you're just, warping from one side to the other. It still counts as crossing their territory. So sadly, that wasn't going to work because I tested going to becoming their vassal and then building as a shield, building up my power, then warring for independence. Sadly, not possible because I have no way. I have no way of getting there because I have a frontier outpost left over here. My only planet is completely enclosed.
If you go down, I think one of the traditions, if you go down supremacy, I think as soon as you put a point into it, you get a bump to your border range.
I
20%.
I think I already have. No, I do not have that.
That could help you.
Let's see. Adopt border range plus 20%. I really don't. There's a lot of space in between my two bubbles there. I don't think it would make any difference.
Might give you more systems though that you could.
It would give me. It might give me
20% border range. Think about that.
Well, it would give me this one, but it's not. There's no stations working, and I can't get a construction ship over. It would give me this one. Let's see. Which one of these buttons shows me doodles?
Doodles.
That's not it. Opinion, Diplo. Alright, we modified ourselves. Empire, unions, hyperlanes, sectors, details. There we go. So let's see. That would give me this system, which is empty. That system's already mine. It would give me. I'd get one system that has anything in it, and it's 3 energy and 4 minerals, and that's it. It's quite. And I'm not. Let's see. Let's take a look at her because I'm about to for 42 months to tradition up, and then that'll finish versatility, which will get me an ascension perk. And which ascension perk? Say megastructures requires 3 other ascension. So megastructures I can't get because it requires 3 other perks.
Also
requires
you need to,
mega engineering tech.
Yeah, so that's an engineering tech that you can get.
Mm-hmm. Ring world, same thing. Voidborn, deep space. I don't even know what that is. Unlocks habitats. So again, that's deep space installations. Master builders, megastructure build space. So no. World Shaper's not going to do anything for me. Synth Age would give me machine modification points, but I've kind of already done what I want off of that. There's only one in here that would do, and that looks like it would do anything for me, and it's naval capacity plus 200. And I mean, I don't know if I can. It's going to take a long time before I could actually support a fleet that large. It looks like it's the only extension perk I'm really going to be able to take that'll do anything, and even then, it's kind of a long-term kind of thing.
Well, I mean, might help.
It might, yeah. Thinking about destroying another power plant to build another research installation. Let's see. Stations, buildings, army pop.
Construction complete.
Do ships require power for upkeep?
Yes, but only when they're not orbiting a planet.
Okay, so let's pull them off. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Army, I see station maintenance, building maintenance, pop maintenance, army maintenance, and module maintenance. But I'm not seeing any fleet maintenance.
I would say ship maintenance, not fleet.
It doesn't say that.
And I'm looking at it right now. I have almost 100 ship maintenance, so it's a thing.
I've got 2.3. I got 23 Corvettes, so they should be. They should.
Like I said, they should not be in orbit of something.
No, they're just sitting out in my system. They're not in orbit of anything. Station, building, pop, army, and module, but there is no fleet or ship maintenance on this list. Huh. So that probably means I can afford to get rid of another power plant in exchange for an engineering facility. So let's replace this one, which is only producing 6. With another science lab. Because right now I don't need power. I need science ducats. Actually, had some people commenting going, hey, this series is pretty much just like a podcast with Stellaris gameplay in the background. Like,
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was. I think that's what the commenter was implying, is like that it was cool.
I'd be happy to do a podcast with you if that ever became a viable option or a thing.
Me and NG Paradox have been discussing doing a podcast.
I just mean in general, like not even related to like, you know, Paradox games or anything like that.
Well, our idea was to do it bi-monthly, and then the main bulk of it would be to cover all of like the dev diaries and stuff that come out in the period between the podcasts, and then at the end tack on, you know, just like general gaming related news and stuff like that, so that people listening could, you know, go to one place and get all of their Paradox related you know, development news, and then at the end of it, if they wanted to keep listening, it would just be other stuff, other gaming stuff. Okay, I'm starting to make a little progress on the tech stuff. Getting a little more techie.
Well, I'm finally building battleships.
What are those? It sounds interesting.
Yeah. Don't you have... No, you have battleships.
I think, theoretically, I have battleships. Let's look. So we go here. Go here. Yes, I do have battleships. I don't have any constructed. Let's see. It does say, do Corvettes not have maintenance? It says there's maintenance on these.
There is maintenance, so I don't know. Maybe you've got a glitch, or maybe they're just not enough to matter.
Am I missing something here? Station, building, pop, army, module.
How well you normally understand things, you might be missing something.
Yeah, really.
It's an option.
Precursor discovery. Where, what? Oh, I think that was somebody else discovering something. God, the music in Stellaris is driving me bonkers. It's not normalized. Like, it gets super loud, so I turn it down, and then the next track starts, and I can't hear anything.
For somebody who doesn't have functioning audio, you really are an audio whore. Yeah,
I know. All right, time for my
Diplomatic alert. Military confrontation detected.
Military confrontation, so...
Hegemony and the Assembly of Suns, which I don't even think I can see. Oh, no, I can see them. Oh, they're the guys to your south. And they're at war with the Hegemony. Okay.
So I definitely don't need to clear blocker tiles. I definitely don't need core systems. I don't need Defender of the Galaxy. That ain't me. So I can do Force Projection. Or the only other thing I could really do is the Synthetic Age. And get me machine modification points.
I mean, maybe it'll come in useful. I mean, there's got to be some things, like some machine modification stuff that could give you, like, an advantage, like better research or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking. So let's go ahead and let's try that. I mean, because I'm 99% sure I'm not gonna out fleet power these guys if it comes down to this. So let's look at my species. And let's, so that's here. So, nope, not set rights. I want to modify template. So, well, I could spend it to get rid of bulky. So I stripped off the gold and the jewels. And now I can take off all the extraneous components. And let's see, resettlement, which ones can I afford? That's not going to do it. Consumer goods, leader experience gain, robot build speed. So I've already got logic engines on in my processor, which gives me, you know, a 10% bonus to all stuff. So what am I looking? I can do minerals, consumer goods, experience gain. I can do experience gain for leaders. So the only thing I'm really looking at that'll be helpful here is experience gain for leaders or mineral production plus 10%. I'm thinking mineral production is going to be better than anything else.
Probably.
So let's, we're going to strip off all the bulky components, and we're going to install drills. Power drills. Create template. Apply template to everybody. Apply the
Situation log adjusted.
Did those guys have fighters a lot, or did they not have fighters? The ones that you fought in?
They had, I don't think they had fighters. I seem to recall them using missiles and kinetic weapons, I think.
Alrighty. Building a carrier-based battleship.
Mm-hmm. I actually tried that off-screen, and unfortunately, I just my fleet didn't have the staying power for the fighters to really get more than a few shots in before the parent ships were destroyed and they dispersed. And I definitely think it's a problem in the game that you don't have more control over your spaceports and that they don't upgrade to their templates at all. The fact that you can't, I don't know why. I mean, it's all the mechanics are in there that for you to be able to modify the template manually, so you can actually tell your space stations what weapons and defenses to use. But the fact that they only use tier 1 weapons and they never upgrade to better ones means that the spaceports just get weaker and weaker and weaker throughout the game.
Yeah, well, that's the point, though. Early on in the game, they're a bulwark against early rushes. But as time goes on, they become less and less useful, and you instead have to rely on other stationary defensive measures that you build yourself, or your fleets. It's a balancing factor.
It doesn't make any sense to only use tier 1 weapons when you have tier 5 weapons unlocked.
No, because that would make them more powerful, and you, instead of being like 2k of power, if you had tier 5 weapons on a space station coupled with their their health, you're talking, it'd be like 6k or something like that or more.
Yeah, which is about yeah, it would probably get to about 6 or 8k, which is what basically what a fortress gives you. But I mean, it'd be like in a shooter using a musket versus an M16. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you still have a balancing problem because
it's
then
not a balancing
what's the
problem.
point?
You've got
let me finish.
AKs,
Then what's the point of a fortress? Because a space station costs like what, a third or a fourth of what a fortress costs? If it goes up to the point where it's the same as a fortress why build
you can put anywhere.
fortresses?
Because you could put them elsewhere in the station. You could put them at the entry and exit points.
Yeah, but you have a space station on all of your planets, and not only that, you could also put a space station, I think, on an orbital habitat. So you could technically have fucking space stations on every celestial body.
You can't put a spaceport on non-occupied worlds, and the fortresses have big radiuses, so you can only put a few.
No,
of
I
them
didn't say non-occupied worlds. I said if you had an orbital habitat, I think you can put a space station on those. And then it becomes overpowered, because then
it's not overpowered because by the time they get up to the point where they have 6 or 8K power, fleets are flying around with 20, 30, 40,000 K power.
And what happens when somebody just riddles a system that somebody else has to take with these things? Like I just said.
Then good for them. They have good defenses. They have to deal
with like 50K of just spaceports, nothing else. Like it's just a spaceport, and then you on top of that, then you can have fortresses. Like it just creates a turtle mentality.
Really, you're talking about a difference of a few thousand fleet power when fleets are flying around with tens of thousands.
Well, I'm saying that a few thousand makes a difference. I think it does.
It makes, like, after the first hour or two of gameplay, the spaceports go from really strong to literally nothing at all, because even at 2.7K fleet power, when you're firing tier 1 weapons, that's not anything. That's not doing any damage at all.
That's the point of them.
But it doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense from a gameplay design. It does.
From a gameplay standpoint, it makes no sense to put tier 1 weapons on a space station when you have tier 5 available.
Because it doesn't matter about the tier, it matters about the balance. It's meant to become less effective, so you have to focus on other aspects.
But it doesn't make any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense, Ben.
No, it doesn't. When you can build a station, that's be like saying if you build when you have access to fortresses, you can only put tier 1 weapons on them.
No, it isn't, because a fortress costs 7 times more than a goddamn spaceport. And it's
only for initial build.
Yeah, for the initial build, but then you also get a chance that it upgrades over time. It has more, it costs more, no matter what you put on, like your normal station. And the other thing is that a normal spaceport is not supposed to be an entire military installation. You're also supposed to have other things you can put on it, like increasing research.
Name a single other game that has a tech tree that forces you to use obsolete tech for no reason.
Let's see here. It could be argued that, it could be argued that Hearts of Iron 4 has you deal with obsolete stuff, because at a certain point, things like normal infantry become obsolete in comparison with motorized and stuff. But you don't have a full motorized thing. Well, maybe not Hearts of Iron 4.
That's a shit game with no balance in it.
You can't have a Hearts of Iron. In Hearts of Iron 3, you can't have a fully motorized army, because that would tank your economy, and it would also be entirely overpowered, which is why they balanced it to the point.
But the game doesn't force you to do that.
Well, yeah, it does, because you can't have fully motorized military. Like it's almost impossible. Like it requires.
You can, but the game doesn't force you into one way or the other. You're not physically prevented from doing it.
You're just wrong. It is a gameplay balance and design choice.
It is not a game. It's an oversight, is what it is.
No, it isn't.
It is an oversight.
Well, I mean, the audience will weigh in.
Why do the other stations not have to follow the same rule?
Because they cost more, Ben. And they are made specifically with zero other aspect to them. I'm saying, with zero other aspect to them. They are a 100% military installation with no other purpose. They don't project power. They don't build ships. They don't create research. They don't create like electrical power. They don't do anything. It is 100% military. That is what they're made for. A spaceport is made for other things. A spaceport can build a colony. A spaceport can build a Stein ship. It can produce power.
So that makes sense for them to use muskets instead of M16s?
No, it makes sense that they're not meant to be a military option, only in the beginning of the game.
Why is it that they don't just reduce the amount of hard points, but then keep the tech up? That would do the same thing and make sense.
No, it wouldn't, because that's not a stat. That creates more of a problem, because then they have to program that. At this point, if you look at it, and you had to design this,
a couple extra variables. That's really tough to program.
Ben, I'm saying, if you had to design this, what's easier? Just having it stay static with a good medium, so that over time it becomes less effective, which is what it's supposed to do. That's their entire purpose. Or instead, now you're creating a variable in which the proportional amount of HP is reduced to the proportional amount of weapons, which has to be tailored, because who knows what weapons you'll unlock or even get access to, because it's a randomized tech tree.
Well, it doesn't make any. It's not any harder in any way, considering all of those functionalities already exist in the game.
Really? Name an example of it happening. That a proportional amount of HP is degraded in correlation to a technology.
There's already a ship designer. The functionality is already there. The ship designer already exists. And having
but the ship designer, as we know, can be cheesed. Do you want a fundamental part of the game? It's not optional. You need spaceports. You can't do a game without spaceports. No, they say that somebody's going to do a run with only one spaceport. But if
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, but do you really want something that fundamental? Do you it would be equivalent to God? What would the equivalency be? To be controllable by an individual. That, if you had to play multiplayer, for God's sakes, think about that. Think about you having to fight multiplayer with a whole system of spaceports that are now also 7 to 8K per spaceport.
What the fuck does it matter if you're at the end of the game when any fleet can outmatch it as soon as you jump into the system?
If weapons become upgraded over time, there are weapons in the late game that can fire clear across an entire star system. So if you have you can put them on ships, but if what you're saying is
if you put them on space stations, it'd almost be like they were useful.
Yeah, and then what happens when you do that, and now you are facing a 9-planet space, or a 9-planet system that has orbital habitats over every single body, or all
I'd be perfectly happy with that, as it would make perfect sense. And then you're dealing with
almost 50K of points plus a fleet. It would be unbreakable. There'd be no way to get past it.
No, it wouldn't be unbreakable.
Yeah, if they put their fleet in there and then also put all their spaceports that are interlocking fields of fire.
If you're playing a micro game and you have a small core set of systems that's heavily defended, it makes perfect sense for it to be hard to crack that nut. It's not impossible, it's just harder. And even, you're talking about having 50,000 fleet power in stations in a system, which would mean it need to be a huge system. And you'd have to have all this super late game tech, which means you're probably fighting enemies.
Super late game tech.
You're probably... No, I'm not talking about late game tech. I'm talking about tech I have right now. I have tier 4 weapons, and I'm firing tier 1 weapons at my enemy. Is the issue I'm having. You're talking about a difference, a proportionally not very significant difference in fleet power when you're talking about fleets that range in the hundreds of thousands. It makes no sense whatsoever to force the player to use bottom tier weapons.
They're not forcing you to use bottom tier weapons. They're forcing your one unit, a station, which is not a military asset, to use tier 1 weapons.
It is a military asset, as it has fleet power associated with it.
It has fleet power associated with it, so you don't get steamrolled in the early game, which is its purpose, other than its purpose of building things. That's its purpose, Ben.
Yes, I understand what its purpose is, but it still doesn't make any sense to force you to use obsolete weapons. It doesn't make sense. I don't care how many different ways you word it. It doesn't make sense. Just saying it's because it's a game balance thing still doesn't make any sense, because the fleet power proportionally will still get much, much, much larger than any station. I'm sitting here with a shitty tiny little fleet that is proportionally the same as my station right here.
Okay.
Which means I could take out a station just because I'm using better
Logical
weapons.
Acquisition successful.
And this is like we're still in early mid-game territory here. Ooh, tech.
Yes, which is what that's how it's made to be. I don't understand how you're not grasping the aspect that it's a
grasp the
design
concept.
decision.
I disagree with it because it also doesn't make sense from a design perspective. When you have access to everything, all the other design functionality in the game, it doesn't make sense to block you out of this one for an arbitrary reason. That is at best a tenuous argument.
Well, I vehemently disagree with you, but we are.
No, I got weapons
episode.
coming. I'm actually getting pretty lucky on the RNG-ness.
Because we're at 31 minutes, so yeah, that's where we're over. This was EU.
Fucking hell. Tier 5 weapons that I'm not going to be able to mount on the space station for stupid reasons.
Oh,
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and
Choice all over
subscribe, and agree with me in the comment section because Roach is wrong, and we'll see you next time.